he just shares what are the current priorities, what should be the focus, and he lets us kind of think of how to achieve it and how to implement this or that things. And that's super nice and exciting when you understand what we need to do, like what the founder and the customers are expecting, but you have a certain freedom in how you're going to achieve it. And that's what I'm trying, to do and create in any team I'm coming into.
Hi there, welcome back to Ship It and Sip It. I'm excited to bring you a special interview today with Alexandra Melnikova. She's a product manager here at Paralect, and she works on the VeroSkills product, and she also works with onboarding new founders to Paralect Venture Studio. Alexandra comes highly recommended from our teammates and from previous guests of the show because of her skills both as a product person and a people manager. We get into both those sides of product management, discuss several experiments and experiences she's had in VeroSkills, and we uncover just how she creates successful team environments that lead to successful startups. Before we start, though, there is something new from us. Eager has just released stack.paralect.com, where you can browse through hundreds of vetted, proven startup tools that founders use to build great products. Check it out, and you can even add your stack. Okay, let's get into the interview with Alexandra. Alexandra Melnikova, Sasha, I will refer to you as for the rest of the show. Thank you so much for coming on. You've been suggested as a guest many times by my previous guests, and I'm really excited to have you on the show. So my first question for you today is, since it is Ship It and Sip It, what have you shipped lately that you're excited about?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I've been a fan, and I've been watching your podcast for a long time, so it's really great to be here. Regarding something that we've delivered recently that got me excited, so I'm working on this product called VeroSkills, which is a coding learning platform for undeserved students. And right now we are onboarding a lot of new students. So every feature kind of feels exciting. But I guess something that we've released recently was group calls for students of the platform. This is not like something super unique, but the fact that we all worked together on it as a team and tested it a lot together as a team was super, refreshing and kind of nice, because we've got to work together a lot, find issues, fix them, and everything. And it was a highly requested feature from the students. So it was fun working on it, and I'm really excited we've done it.
Awesome. Yes, we're going to talk a lot about VeroSkills in our show today.
Sure.
Previously, I talked with Daniel Walsh, the founder of VeroSkills. I'll link the episode in the show notes below this, but he had a lot to say about the team and the success and the idea and what he wants to do with VeroSkills, and you are a huge part of that as product manager, so I'm eager to get your perspective. So today we're going to talk about becoming an awesome product manager, both in terms of the product and the manager side, working on VeroSkills, and also sort of who are ideal founders and what makes a perfect product launch. So there's a lot there. Hopefully we'll get into some more specific stuff as we go along. But first, in terms of product management, my last guest, Lara, described you as her angel as a product manager on VeroSkills. It's very high praise, I'm sure. It was the first time she had worked on a team that had an actual product manager instead of working directly with the founder as acting as a product manager. So she specifically noted that team meetings, the atmosphere was always fantastic. So let's start with the meetings. How do you try and sort of facilitate that? Is that just a natural effect of a great team? What do you do to make that happen?
Well, it definitely a team effort for sure, and it just happened that all the people on VeroSkills team are super engaged and open, to participate. And it's always like people have ideas, things to talk about, comments, and everything. And I would say that the readiness to engage from people on the meeting is the key factor to this kind of atmosphere where everyone feels relaxed and able to talk and share and everything. So this is definitely group effort. From my side, I don't know. I'm trying to like not to be the leader of the conversation all the time, which is kind of tricky for me because I'm always like someone who would say long speeches and talk a lot. But something that we've done with the team is we choose a facilitator, a new facilitator every week for our daily meetings, for example. This was an idea of the team, and we've introduced it like several months ago, and it works great. Like every week, we choose a facilitator with the help of a random wheel, and they facilitate the meetings, ask questions, and it is so funny how different people, approach leading the meetings. The vibe is totally different every time. It's great every time, but different. So it gives a sense of something new when a new people is leading a meeting. So that also adds up, to feeling that everyone is there, engaging, participating. So I would say that the main factor is to involve other peoples on the meeting in the process more, and try to step back as often as possible as a leader and facilitator in the meeting. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Just to clear things up, how big is the team right now?
Well, we are the team of 6 people, so it's
Okay.
not huge. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and that's very interesting. That reminds me, in a former career, I was an English language teacher, and the big thing that they taught us when I was training to become one was teachers don't need to be the ones speaking the most. The students need to speak a lot more. So
Yeah.
parallels to that. All right, so can you describe as briefly as you like your path to product management?
Initially, I started as a project manager in IT, and my main strengths point were usually, being an organized person, structured person, very detailed person, and everything. So I thought that like contributes and nice things to have when you want to be a project manager. And I also have some management experience before I kind of entered IT, so it all matched up pretty nicely. But then I actually didn't want to be a product manager at the beginning, but it always happened like this. I'm on the project and I'm just cannot help myself, getting into the product, asking questions, talking to founder, trying to talk to customers, I don't know, sharing ideas and everything. And somehow it always ends up that I somehow participated in the product activities, but I didn't have, enough maybe experience or knowledge to do that solo. But then with Paralect, they really give you an opportunity to try out things you, are not that experienced in. And on some of the latest products I worked on, I was covering solo project and product management activities, read a lot, took courses, and I guess it's kind of happened. Not something that I planned specifically, but it happened, and now I'm trying, to still learn and study and try out new things as a product manager, because there is so much to learn, and I'm definitely not yet there when, I could say, okay, I'm now fully professional, educated product manager. But it's great that I got to learn with, with actively doing things, not just reading about them or listening to webinars and everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
What are some things or resources that you're reading, listening to, right now, or ones that really helped you in your path to product management?
Yeah, well, there is this platform called Reforge, which is a platform dedicated to product management, skills. They have a great courses for product managers, but apart from that, they have one of the best newsletters that I've ever subscribed to, because, well, it's a weekly newsletter, and the great thing about it is that it is less marketing, more like really provides you with useful content, interesting techniques for doing experiments, talking to customers and everything. And I would say this is the only newsletter I'm reading almost every week. So yeah, that's one great source I'm usually using, and kind of using more often than others.
Very cool. I'll have to check it out, and we'll leave a link to it in the show notes as well. All right. Recently, you've been posting quite a bit off and on LinkedIn and Twitter, or X as well. But you shared one post about your lecture at Startup Summer last summer. You told the students that the heart of each product should be value for the user. We hear this a lot. A lot of product managers say it, a lot of everyone who builds startups says this, right? So I don't want you to explain exactly that again, but I'm curious what you see that takes teams away from that idea, or takes people in teams away from that idea. What distracts us from this idea?
Routine and issues and problems that they raise every day when you develop software, and it is super easy to get caught into these operational things like tickets, bugs, releases, and everything. And it is totally understandable. Like, this is something we are doing every day, talking about every day and everything. But I sometimes find myself, forgetting about not what we are doing, but why we are doing it. And this is a question I'm trying to remind myself about every week. I have like a page in the notes on my laptop, and there is like one sentence there in caps lock, like what is the goal of of the features we are delivering this week. And I'm trying to like remind myself about it every week, and try to talk with the team about it every time I got a chance, so as to make this question a part of our routine. Not only how we're going to implement this feature, what it would look like, but most importantly, for whom we are doing it and why. What is like the metric we are targeting? What are the results we are hoping for? And this is one part, and another part is actually checking how it turns out. Like, okay, we delivered this feature, that was our goal. We need to go and check, like in a month, in 2 weeks, whether the goal was achieved, how it works out, and everything. And also, of course, share it with the team and discuss and review and plan improvements and everything. So the why and also the results, I would say, something to be talked about as often as we talk about issues and tickets and releases.
Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. And it reminds me of an update you wrote a while ago, and you actually wrote a post for us, which I haven't published yet. I haven't forgot about it.
Okay.
Maybe this week I'll publish it along with your interview. It'll be a great one too. But anyway, you were outlining a way that you automated the onboarding flow for VeroSkills. So I wonder if we could talk about that a little bit now. I know it's not very fresh in your memory, but probably you remember. Because it was a couple months ago, you made this sort of drastic change in the amount of time it took to onboard users. And so now you should be seeing results from that. So can you walk us through sort of how did you discover it was a problem or holding you back from growing the platform? Briefly, how you automated it, and then third, what results did you see?
Okay, sure. So the need for the automation was there for some time already. Like we work in close cooperation with Daniel, the founder of VeroSkills, and the operations team on their site. And the thing is that as we are partnering with NGOs and people who may not have any experience with learning online or coding, the selection process and pre-onboarding process gets super important because we want to kind of filter people who are ready to dedicate time to this learning, because it won't be easy and it will be challenging for them. So we learned from the team on the VeroSkills side that right now they're doing it manually, like they having calls, 1 hour calls with every candidate, ask questions, tell about the platform, ask them to complete some simple exercises and everything. And from our side, from the platform side, we saw that from the moment the contract with the NGO is signed to the moment that students actually onboard on the platform, it takes, well, a lot of time, sometimes months, sometimes even more. And we knew that there will be more students, more partners in future. And it will, first of all, it will get impossible for people, to process all of these candidates manually. And also, of course, we wanted to shorten this time for the pre-onboarding so that students didn't get, I don't know, discouraged or demotivated to finally start learning. And so we started with the team on the VeroSkills side sharing with us all the steps they are doing right now and what the goal of each step, because we wanted to automate things, but we wanted to keep the kind of the sense of it there. And with our dev team and our dev lead Ivan, who's been like a huge part of all of this automation, we discussed what could be automated and how we're going to do that. Important point was that we didn't want to make it super complicated because it would take effort from the dev team, and we wanted to avoid it as much as possible. So a lot of things that we've done with the pre-onboarding automation doesn't require, a developer. So I myself could do that. The people on the VeroSkills team could do that. So that's very nice that we don't take time from our dev team who work on features for the platform. We've actually had 5 iterations with the pre-onboarding flow. And with each iteration, we've automated another part of it. So first, it was like we had a form to apply to apply for students. Then a person would review it manually, change status, provide a video ask with questions for students to record answer, then review it manually, then provide a link to do the coding challenge, review it manually, and then approve or reject. And this review manually part was still a hinder because it took time. Even the fact that we avoided, calls with students, it still took time to review every application, every video ask. So with the next iterations, we tried to process the answers and configure an algorithm to change statuses automatically. Here we've used AI, of course. So we took the results of the first application, reviewed it automatically, and the first status is now changed automatically. The video ask is also reviewed automatically, and we look for specific answers, and if they are met, there is an automatic transfer to the next status. If not, only in this case, a person steps in. And the coding challenge, the answer is also now reviewed automatically. So before, every step of the way was manual. And right now, out of 7 statuses that there are there in the flow, only 2 of them actually require manual input. which is kind of fun. I mean, it cut the time of the people who were involved in the pre-onboarding process quite nicely, and also it helped us to shorten the time of the pre-onboarding itself for students. So we cut it from 1 month to 2 weeks in average. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's a bit longer, but still it's a nice cut.
Awesome. And I guess now would be a good time just to get into VeroSkills a little bit more. We'll come back to a few of the product management topics a little bit later. But briefly, can you give us an overview of the roadmap of VeroSkills up till now? How long have you been working on the product? And sort of what were some of the challenges when you started out with Daniel?
Of course. So I've been working on the product since January, so 10 months already. And the team in Paralect have been working on it for 1 year now, actually, because we started in November with the VeroSkills team. The initial challenges that we faced were mostly organizational and in the field of project management, because we needed to deal with how to do regular releases, how to fix issues, how to make sure there are no critical stuff on production. So first 2 months were dedicated mostly to cleaning up and setting up processes, which is actually one of my favorite jobs to do, because these things give you results super fast. This is not like any product changes that require time to adopt and give you results. Once the team is involved and dedicated, and the clear and transparent process is set up, we've seen results like after 2 or 3 weeks when we started working with VeroSkills, and it felt pretty nicely. Because before, I know Daniel was saying that, and I felt it myself, that when we started, it was like no one understood how it works, how it should work, what the expected behavior on the platform and everything. And after several weeks, it just felt nice to see that, okay, that's working. We know what to expect, and it actually happening, which is a very nice thing when you develop software. So this was the initial challenge. And after that, we just started to introduce things dedicated to user behavior analytics, figuring out what the problem, the hinder that students and tutors face on the platform. And I should say that it's we are really lucky, because we've got users on the platform pretty soon. The first contract was signed in the beginning of the year, and we have our first active users, real users on the platform in May. So from that point, we were able, to actually validate the feature that we deliver, how they're used, what the problems are there. And this is something we were focusing on and still focusing on, like analyzing their behavior, sharing, trying to get insights from the students, and improve the way they, interact with the platform. Yeah.
Awesome. And I guess from talking to you about the product and also from talking with Daniel, it seems pretty straightforward. It's a platform to learn how to code. The target market for learners is underserved students who would love to learn how to become developers and improve their career prospects. The other user group are the mentors who love to help those students. But when I look at the website, it seems like a little bit more complex than that. It's not for anyone. I, as a marketer who might want to learn a little bit of coding just to become a better generalist, can't just log
Yep.
in and start using it. So there's this whole sort of NGO flow. It it seems just a little bit more complex than when we talk about it. So was that a challenge when it comes to launching the product, or is that all something that the VeroSkills team does? You mentioned you've automated parts of it, so it's happening faster. Can you describe that a little bit?
Of course, yeah, you're right. So the target audience of the platform are not everyone. This is targeted specifically on the non-commercial organizations in the United States. So this is something we would call B2B2C. So we're selling to a business, but the users, the end consumers, are actually the people from the NGOs. To be honest, we are not the one doing the sales and promotion, so it is all on the VeroSkills side of the team, and I should say they're doing it amazing and great, because we've started with one partner at the beginning of the year, and now there are 11 cohorts onboarded on the platform, which is, well, great. But from what we see and what we talk about with the VeroSkills team, this is like a super nice approach to, targeting your product to a more narrow audience, but with an actual problem. Because as far as I know, when VeroSkills started, it was available kind of for everyone. But the problem with this is that there are other platforms out there that provide coding lessons and courses. And also with this kind of target to everyone, you need to spend a lot of time, effort, and, well, money into marketing to attract this kind of audience, as far as I understand. And with targeting one specific group, which are NGOs in the United States, it allows the VeroSkills team, to put all their efforts into, finding these people, talking to them, signing contracts. And this is more of a direct sales rather than, more marketing and user acquisition that we're used to. But this is, well, really helps us to stand out and kind of understand our unique selling point. We're not for everyone, we're for these people, this target group. And a lot of features that we introduce, they won't be, there on Coursera or Udemy or on other platform that, well, actually provide the same functionality, right? The ability to learn coding, but they don't have all the features that help people who don't have any coding experience, and sometimes who even don't use computer that often, to start using it, start learning and everything. So the target audience is actually, I would say, the key and unique thing about VeroSkills, which we build a lot from.
Okay, yeah, that clears things up quite a bit. And it makes a lot of sense, and I'm happy that it's working very well for them. And you. So we already discussed some of the challenges. Let's see, Lara also mentioned that everyone in the team is actively involved in making the product better, not just finishing tickets or finishing tasks. So how do you sort of foster that mindset?
Well, first of all, it all starts with including the team into the conversation as much as possible. Like any meeting I have with founders regarding the plans and priorities, it is open for everyone to join and to, listen or share their ideas. And also when we plan features and discuss features for development, we always discuss like why we're doing it, what the request from the audience, what we hope to achieve. And the team, when they have access to this information, I mean, people always have questions and have comments, and having more context and understanding about the feature just, as a result, invokes more comments and ideas from the team. And also, like our, for example, QA engineers and developers who work on the features, they obviously dedicate more time to it, and they use it more than I myself, for example, and they sometimes offer amazing insight that I won't think about because I haven't spent that much time with the feature, using it, trying it out, testing it and everything. So the first thing I would say is to include everyone in the conversation share all the data, analytics, ideas, priorities, what's happening with the team, and it's kind of causes them, adds up to their engagement and eventually to the way they may offer ideas and insights for the product development.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think is a sort of strength of VeroSkills is that the developers and the QAs, the end users are people in their same cohort, sort of. That everybody learned to code at some point. Most of our engineers also help mentor other coders as well at some point through Startup Summer. So they see both sides of this experience and they have a lot to share in terms of what helped them learn, what helps them to teach, et cetera, et cetera. Is that sort of an accurate assessment?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is always fun and, great when you could actually consider yourself a user of the platform or imagine yourself a user of the platform. Yeah, this is super useful. And actually having developers and QA engineers on the team helped us a lot, not only with the features development but also with the content review. Like they would be able to review courses and the lessons and make ideas and suggestions. And also when a student has problems with something, with the course or with the lesson, we could be the one helping them not only, to fix the issue, but also to kind of move forward and make progress with the lesson, which is, adds up to the value that we could provide to an end user. And this is always super fulfilling when you feel you're not only, responsible for the software, but also to the actual value of the product, that you contributed to it and see the results of it.
Yeah, that's got to be very rewarding for them all. All right. So you talked a lot about all of these ideas coming in. I'm curious, let's go back real quick to tools. How do you manage this process? You said that this is part of the process that you love the most, is organizing and making projects more efficient. So what are some of your go-to tools in your stack?
For sure. Well, I'm trying to keep it simple and not to use too many tools at once. We use Miro for kind of high level planning. We have a user story map there, and we plan with Daniel and VeroSkills team every month kind of what are going to be our priorities. And this roadmap is shared with the team, and we discuss it every month with them. So Miro is for high-level planning, and for the daily planning and discussions, we use Linear, which is a great tool that I've discovered on VeroSkills. Before, I always was a huge fan of Jira, and I'm remaining it. But for projects where reporting is not that big and an issue, Linear is an amazing tool. It feels like project managers were actually involved in its development, because a lot of things are supernatural, and I'm thinking, oh, it would be nice to have this feature right now, and it actually there. I'm thinking of it and it's there. So Linear is for daily communication and tickets management and everything. And also we have Notion, which is for kind of requirements, descriptions, instructions, and everything. So this set of three, I would say, is right now more than enough. And Mira and Linear, great for kind of structuring things, making them transparent, and giving the visibility of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what will come next for the team and for the VeroSkills, for funders and the team on the VeroSkills side.
Very cool. Yeah, we used Linear quite a bit on the marketing side as well, just to organize our stuff. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not a product.
amazing.
I'm not a project manager. It's quite easy, simple to organize all your projects. All right, what should we talk about next? Let's talk about motivation, because you just wrote a post about motivation. And the gist of it was that as a manager, your job is not to provide motivation. You should just sort of enable and empower a team of motivated people already. So I guess let's start with yourself. Let's talk about your motivations, then we'll go to the team, then we'll sort of bring it together with the founder and the whole startup. So where do you find your motivations, and what do you do if they lag?
Well, to be honest, I would consider myself a person who doesn't require to be motivated by, external people, stakeholders, or my managers, because I think I'm a bit of a perfectionist, meaning that my biggest motivation is my own feeling that I've done it right and that I were involved and interested in the task 100%, and that I was trying and did my best. So this feeling that I love having at the end of the day is my biggest motivation. The understanding that I wasn't kind of like procrastinating or didn't do my best with the task. Yes, so this is one thing. A more high level thing would be obviously see that the work I'm doing brings value to other people, that it's actually needed, that it's appreciated, and this is something that I obviously don't need every day, but it's nice to understand that what I'm doing is actually, well, necessary.
For sure. All right. And you talked about, sort of from a manager's perspective, motivating the team and also setting goals, which I think is sort of the crux of the issue when it comes to working together as a team. So how do you think about goals? How do you maybe take some examples from VeroSkills? What are the metrics that you're targeting, and how do you sort of translate that into motivation for the team?
Sure. I absolutely agree that goals, the presence of goals and the shared understanding from the team what are our goals is one of the key features for the team being motivated. But I would actually want to kind of distinguish a little bit these two things. So it is always nice when your job is as a manager not to motivate people to work. They come and they don't want to do anything, and you, the magician, should come up with something.
Crack the
Yes,
whip.
yes, and kind of like make them excited and interested to work. This is we all need it sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
totally fine. Like we people, and we like when others motivate us or excite us, and as a leader in the team, you sometimes need to do that, of course. But it's nice to be not to be responsible for that all the time, because this is job and we come here to work, and it's nice when everyone understands that. Another thing, obviously, is setting up goals, which is definitely a manager's role to come up with the things we need to focus on. Maybe not the specific goals, and definitely not specific means of achieving these goals, but kind of, okay, guys, this is a situation. I see that right now we need to focus on these things because. Do you agree with me? Do you have any other ideas? What should we focus on? Okay, no, then let's decide that this month we are going to work on this. How do you think, what the best way to achieve this, to improve this? And we kind of like brainstorm ideas, things, and it's always nice not to be the one, sharing instructions, like we need to do that because, so go and do that. it's always better and more fun when it's coming from the team. And to be honest, that's actually that I felt the most on VeroSkills and with Daniel. He's definitely not the one who gets into super small details of what the team's doing, how we're doing it, and everything. He just shares what are the current priorities, what should be the focus, and he lets us kind of think of how to achieve it and how to implement this or that things. And that's super nice and exciting when you understand what we need to do, like what the founder and the customers are expecting, but you have a certain freedom in how you're going to achieve it. And that's what I'm trying, to do and create in any team I'm coming into.
Yeah. And that also circles back to the intrinsic motivation that the team has to help sort of people
Yeah.
like them, even though they're quite far away and they're not direct users of the platform. So that's really cool. And I guess a follow-up question to that, in regards to what Daniel brings to the team in terms of goals or metrics to improve, is there a clear sort of time frame that he wants that to happen, or is that something where you look at it as a team and say, here are three ways we think we could do this. A will take this long, B will take this long, and C will take this long, and he sort of works with you on that? How does that look?
Yeah, more or less like you described. As I mentioned, we have these monthly priority meetings where Daniel shares with us like feedback from our partners and from the customer that he heard about. We are also in communication with our end customers, students and tutors via customer service chat, so we could share our own understanding and ideas of what should we be working on. And we kind of work out a plan that aligns with the business needs of the product that Daniel sets for us and shares with us. And based on that, we work out our delivery plans and goals for the month. And yes, usually it looks like we have these 2 or 3 things to focus on this month. How long will it take, do you think? And we provide ideas. Okay, we could do, as you said, this way, it would be faster, this way, a little bit longer, and we decide which way we choose. And also, we always try to leave some free capacity of the team every month to be able to react to some urgent issues or requests, and that worked out pretty nice for us. So usually we have only 50 or 60% of the capacity planned for each month, and the rest is free at the beginning, and it gets filled up with some issues or last minute requests, so that we are able to kind of balance what we want the product to move to, and also working with things that our consumers, our customers require right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's one thing that, at times I've been frustrated, especially working in marketing. It's sort of, you can choose out of hundreds of goals, ways to grow, channels to grow, sort of different levels of the funnel to target at some time. So when you have leadership that sort of changes priorities or doesn't stick with a priority long enough to see things through, then it can definitely demotivate a team. So bit different, but makes sense
Yeah.
to see how Daniel handles it. All right, let's see. We've already sort of started talking about speed. So moving more generally away from VeroSkills, we talk about launching things quickly a lot. So as a product manager, why do you think speed is such an important part of startup building and launching?
I would say the speed is not the end goal. It's just an instrument to avoid spending too much time on something that you are not yet sure will be, needed on the market. And the less time you spend on the product, on the first version of the product is the better, because that means that you get to release sooner, get feedback, and maybe pivot, or maybe even understand that it's not really required. From my point of view, the greatest advantage of these fast MVPs is that we don't give ourselves too much time, to elaborate about, this button should be pink or light pink. Should we do it this or that way? So we put ourselves in a time frame that is quite short. Before we enter this time frame, we discuss, brainstorm, and elaborate what we think would be the most valuable user flow for the MVP. And once it's decided, we don't spend too much time discussing it again. We just want to deliver it super fast and start gaining feedback. Because I myself feel it, every time, that it always might be done better. And we've always feel that, we didn't think about that before, but it would be cool to think about it. So maybe we just need this one little improvement and it would be ready. It's always like that. And I think this short timeline just helps you to fight this urge to improve more and more and better deliver. Because every time you launch an MVP, the feedback that we gain from users, it's usually different or gives you so much more additional stuff to think about rather than before you launched it. So it's just better to ignore most of the things while developing and listen to users after you launched. And an MVP, just a final thought, that an MVP isn't always a product. Like we always say, it can be a post, a landing, I don't know, an account, an Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn. This is all MVP, and the shorter it is, the better.
All right. And how are some ways, you mentioned that teams, I guess, can take a lot of time building and brainstorming within their own sort of bubble before they get the feedback that they need from the target audience. Are there other ways that founders tend to sort of slow things down? And have you seen that? And as a product manager, had to say, look, let's stop imagining all these scenarios. Let's, build something concrete and see what happens.
I would say that two things that happen most often is that we spend too much time on the way things look, like designs, branding, coloring, and everything. And I want to make a disclaimer that I'm not an expert and, someone that's right 100% times. And sometimes branding is important and we need to really spend time on it. But usually it's not. It's great to think about how things looks, but it's also great not to spend too much time on it. So the one thing is the UI design, and the second thing is the fear that the flow that you include in the MVP isn't enough, to test the market. And this concern is much more viable from my point of view, because it depends a lot from the market and target audience, whether this kind of early adopters will be ready to use the product which isn't fine-tuned and works perfectly as we all used to using all these mainstream apps and products right now. And this is something that, is always a great thing to think about. And this is always different depending on the target audience. If, for example, we are targeting developers, that's probably not that important. They will understand. And again, I will have an example from VeroSkills when we are dealing with people who are not really experienced with software. Any small issue may be super demotivating for them, and they may consider it some critical thing that really hinder them from moving on. And we need to kind of think about it. And we've just recently talked with the team, and we kind of decided that this MVP approach, where we get rid of everything which is not high priority when delivering a feature, we should try to use it less and think of the way to deliver features that are maybe not 100% perfect, but more fine-tuned that we would do before, because we know our audience. So this is a two factor that usually prevents the teams move fast with the MVPs, putting too much focus on the designs and adding too much features in the MVP that just don't allow us to make it fast.
Yeah. And one example I just thought of, you reminded me of there with the comments on design. I recently started, yesterday actually, I found a tool from Adobe that it enhances the audio from podcasts like this one. So you just upload an audio file and it does its magic. They have a free version and a premium version, and then you can download the file. And on the download screen, their design team or front end team made some mistakes, and the one text box on the right side of the screen just runs off the website for like the header runs off, the subheader runs off, and everything. And if Adobe can do that, which I'm sure has a design team that's like in the thousands, then surely your own startup can do that as well and still have a successful product.
Yeah,
It works great.
I actually always feel kind of warm when I meet an issue or some small thing that doesn't work as expected in a huge app like Twitter or Instagram or anything else. Like I feel what the team behind the product might experience, and okay, they meet the scene, but I understand, so it's okay, guys, all is fine. I'll keep using it and everything.
Yeah, for sure. And as long as the audio sounds good, I don't really care what the design of the website looks like.
Yeah.
Right. So after I talked with Daniel, I got the impression, and I think you agree as well, that he is sort of an ideal founder for Paralect to partner with. He has previous founding experience. He's got a validated idea. He is capable of pitching and selling that idea to the target audience. So you've been sort of working more with the onboarding and outreach and sales side of the Paralect process. So how do you think we can find more people like Daniel in the world that would love to work with us?
Well, whoa, I wish I knew. Then I will do that, and will be rich and happy. Yeah, I think, well, first of all, it's great to talk about things that, we think that we want to work with. And this is something I see right now that Ksusha and Lena and Igor are doing with Paralect and Salt on Box sites. Like, we are putting more info about how we work. We kind of form the application process to be able to filter someone who are not really a match for us. And that's a great thing to start with, like this initial information on the website and the application process that is tailored to like ask questions that we usually ask on the first intro calls and everything. That's already a great filter. And I get this one thing. And another thing is that thankfully our current partners are referring us a lot. And it's also an amazing way to kind of get to meet people who are like-minded to our current partners. And we've had multiple experiences with partners who came us from other partners, and it's always great. Like there is already a foundation, kind of mutual understanding between all the parties. Okay, we work this way. You probably know that because, I don't know, Daniel recommended us and he worked with us. So that's another day, another way to do that. And the final thing is the pre-sale onboarding week. that we usually have before the partner decide whether he wants or doesn't want to go work with us. That's also super crucial because it gives us an opportunity to ask questions and validate whether the founder is something we want to work with, and also to show the founder what's our approach and for him to validate us, whether this is something he's interested in, he's looking for, or we are not the ones that will match his expectations.
Right on. Two things I wanted to ask you about based on that answer. First of all, the Paralect.com, we recently updated the website, and the header now reads, "Fix your startup tech." What's broken in most cases, and why is that sort of our main selling proposition?
Well, it actually differs from product to product, but a thing that I saw more often than others is that there is too much functionality, but none of it actually works as expected. There is no processes installed. And for example, when we start working on a product, or some other team or a founder working on a product, people never think about like the process, and it's totally fine, like it's okay. But when the product is growing, the need for the processes, it's kind of a merge, because okay, we might be releasing whenever we want before, but now, for example, as we have users, we could not allow ourselves to do that because, well, we release, something breaks, they got confused, and we want to avoid that. So there should be schedule, some logic, some testing and everything. And schedule, logic, and testing is already the processes that needs to be set up. So one thing is the technical issues with the product. Another is the lack of processes, and the third one is I would say that there is a deadline, and the founder currently is not able to meet it, and we are coming as an additional force to kind of speed things up, because there is a user's expectation or investor expectation, something like that.
All right. And the second thing I wanted to ask about, in terms of more sharing of what we do and how we do it, you've been writing a series called #InBetweenCalls on LinkedIn. So what inspires this series? And I guess more generally, how do you feel about the BuildInPublic idea, ethos? What challenges do you find to sharing your experiences on social media?
Yeah, so I started about a year ago because Igor and Dmitry and some of the guys from Paralect were building in public, and it felt that, well, adds up some transparency on what you're doing, and also gives you an opportunity, to share the results of your work, which is always rewarding, and adds up to the publicity of Paralect, which is one of the factors for new leads attraction and closing deals. And well, that's also a super nice argument to follow. So I guess as everyone, I'm trying to write about something that I can come across every day as a manager. I would say the biggest challenges is I don't know, sharing your thoughts when I'm not sure that I'm an expert in the matter, because LinkedIn and other platforms, they have some of the amazing content creators and professionals who share so much value that, I mean, I usually read them and use their advice and everything. So I don't feel that I'm yet there, to be the expert sharing advice. But from the other point of view here, just reading about the work of other managers and reading about the stuff they face and how they overcome it, sometimes is super useful because, well, usually we have kind of the same problems. The context might be different, but the way they overcome them and try out things are usually something that I could do myself. So this is what I'm trying to do. Also share what are the challenges I face, how I overcome them, some thought that I have while working with people. So this is something that's interesting to me, like sharing and getting feedback, and also kind of learning how to write, formulate thoughts. That's also a nice perk to it.
Yeah, and everyone who creates, I think, is challenged by imposter syndrome, as you've described.
Yeah.
So you're not alone there. I would say take more confidence into what you write, because I think it's really insightful, and I think a lot of people can learn from it as well. And even the act of writing it and putting it out there makes you a better manager, makes you more of an expert. So that's one of the stepping stones. And given that you're a very process oriented person, do you have a process for this writing, or is it sort of ad hoc whenever you have inspiration?
I for a long time I was trying to post every week at the end of the week. For me, it was kind of a closure point. Like this week, I've been working on this and this and this, and I would choose something that, well, was the most interesting for me, or maybe the most challenging, and I would write about it. It's kind of like a record in your diary, but in the professional kind of way, work kind of way. I haven't been able to keep with the weekly posting lately due to some work stuff and traveling and everything. But in general, this is a process I'm trying to follow, kind of like closing my week with this posts sharing, and then go and rest during the weekend.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. All right. Couple more questions, then I'll let you go. In terms of sharing and building in public, I also wanted to ask, is this something that you're trying to facilitate in the team? Do you encourage, do you set time apart for people to do this? I mean, how do you make it happen if you do?
I wouldn't say this is something I'm trying to set up among my team colleagues, team members. We talk about it, and actually we have several discussions about why it is even important or needed to write about the product, and even the fact that the guys and girls in my team have these questions. I think this is great because they think about it. But no, I don't really encourage it, because I don't think that building is public is something that everyone should be doing in the team. Obligatory, I would say. If a person have a calling to do that, that's amazing. If there is a very, very clear value, like we are doing this because, I don't know, investors are reading and this is important that our team lead writes, that would be also an argument to do that. But until then, because, with VeroSkills and the way we are closing deals with the direct sales, our target audience isn't really in the area where usually people in IT community writes, like Twitter, X, or LinkedIn. So this doesn't really contribute to closing deals in a direct way. That's why I think it's great when people share, and I always support these tryouts from my team members. But this is not something we consider required in the VeroSkills team.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. All right, last question. You joined Paralect almost 2 years ago, as far as LinkedIn tells me.
Yeah.
So if you could give your 2021 self a few pieces of advice in starting out this journey, what would you tell her?
That's to be honest, I don't have any regrets about these 2 years or something that I would recommend not do to myself. Just in general, I would say that I would recommend myself, not only in the past, but right now as well, is to try to focus on things that are important more, and don't get distracted by things that are not that high priority, but I feel that I sometimes need to do because they're in my list and I need to do them. So yes, I think that's called better prioritization, or sticking to the prioritization, because I think I'm quite okay with the prioritization, but the sticking part is kind of challenging for me. So yeah, that's an advice I would give to myself.
Right. I guess if you're a highly motivated person like yourself, if you put it on the list, then you see it's there. It's like, well, I put it on the list for a reason,
Yeah,
so
sounds like
I got
that.
to do it. All right. Well, Sasha, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you'd like our listeners to know about VeroSkills or Paralect before we wrap up?
No, I would actually want to say hi and thank you to my VeroSkills team, everyone from Paralect, Ivan, Zhenya, Petya, Lera, Veronika. You're great, amazing team. I'm super happy to work with, and also to our colleagues on the VeroSkills side. This is one of the best team setups I've been working with, and you're making my work life really happy and satisfying. So thank you very much, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. And it's been a lot of interesting insights into how you work and how VeroSkills has grown along with your team. So it's been lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Bye
Bye.
bye.